Alright everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I've got the Savage TRR S.R out here on the range, and we're going to do a test on this scope. Now the first thing I got to do is I got to get it zeroed in. So I've got a 100-yard target set up there, one of the little splatter targets, and I've pulled the bolt out of here, and what I've done is I've peeked through the bore to see the target up there. It's a little difficult to see because it's like a 12 by 12 black target. And it's a little difficult to see, but I think I've got it where I want it. I might need to come up just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my crosshairs to line up with the image I see through the bore there. That is what is known as bore sighting. Once I get that where it's pretty close, then I'll take my shots, make my adjustments, and then lock everything down. So I'm going to get started on that, and then we'll do the box test or the tracking test on the scope and see how it does. Alright, now this is a 17 HMR. It comes with a 5-round magazine, and I've got another 5-round magazine from one of my other 17 HMRs. So I've got a box of, this is CCI VMAX 17 HMR. Now this is a newer one. If you remember some of my older 17 HMR videos, I had a lot of problems with case splitting, and I think it was due to actually some of the older ammo had some issues. These are 17 grain. They clock in at 2,550 feet per second at the muzzle. Of course, at 100 yards away, it's going to be a little bit different. And I don't know if they tell on here what it's going to be at the different ranges, but I will put a chart up here and show you what it's supposed to be like. Just a little stick style magazine. I believe they do make some 10 rounders for these, but it just pops right up here in the bottom. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my bolt put in there first. And to take the bolt on these out on these, all you do is squeeze the trigger and you can pull it out. When you put it back in, same thing. You have to squeeze the trigger a little bit to let it get past that latch, and then you close it. All right, I am going to get set up and take a shot and see where I'm at. All right, let me get the eyes and ears on. Some of the most important things. We'll get one chambered. Give it a try. My lines on my parallax do line up with 100 yards. Like I said, it's not an exact science on these. It's kind of an estimate, but it looks really good at 100 yards. And I do not see my point of impact on there. Let's try it again. All right, I'm gonna go down there and take a peek and see if I can find where they may have hit. I'm probably way off. I did do quite a bit of adjustment on these just to get it kind of close, and since I don't see it, I'm obviously not close. Okay, I did find my points of impact. I am way off, but that's easy to remedy because all I got to do is put my crosshairs back where I was aiming. It's a little tricky to do because sometimes you want to make sure the rifle doesn't move, but I want to get it right back to where I was originally aiming from. Okay, right now I've got it exactly where I was aiming from, and I'm not touching the table. One of these days I'm going to put a concrete bench out here. I'm going to use sandbags, but for right now I've got it put right back on my original point of aim. Now I'm going to adjust my turrets until they get to where my point of impact actually was, and try not to move it. And you're going to hear a lot of clicks because I was way off. Okay, that put my crosshairs up about 1.5 feet and to the left about 3 inches, I think, somewhere around there. Maybe 4 inches, somewhere around there. Now I'm going to go back to my original target and take my shots there and see what I get. Actually, I'm going to use that one because I hit the other target and I want to use a fresh one for the tracking test. I've got 3 rounds left in that magazine, so let's give it a try. See if I got closer. Okay, that's a whole lot better, way better than what it was the first time. I'm going to do 5 more shots there. We'll pick another little spot on that target, and you know, it needs a little break-in period, I guess, a little time to get broken in. So those 3 shots right there may be pretty good. We may call that 0, but let's see what it does on one of the other targets on there. Got 5 more rounds in there, and we'll give it a try. We'll go for the upper right. I think I can live with that. That turned out really nice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move down to the lower target and we're going to do a tracking test on it. Okay, so I've got 3.5 inches from the center bullseye to the other ones, 3.5 inches each way, to the right, to the left, up, down. Now I set my 0 stop at 0. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to come down to the center of the bottom ones because I won't have enough range of my turret to get all the way over and all the way down. So I'm going to start off at the bottom. I'm going to come up 14 clicks, which would be 3.5 inches at 100 yards. And then that should put me right at the center bullseye. And then I'm going to go up another 14. Then I'm going to go over 14. Then I'm going to go down 28. And then over 28, up 28, back across, and get back to the center. Hopefully everything works out right, especially my math. Is that right? Something's not right here. If I started there, I would have hit down there. Yeah, I still have to aim down below, but I should be hitting at the center there. All right, let's give it a try. Yeah, that was right. I'm gonna do 3 shots. Okay, now I'm gonna go up another 14. Now I'm gonna go over to the right 14. All right, let's see what we get. Now I should aim at the same spot. All right, now we're going to come down 28. And that gets me right back to my 0. Should have one round in there. We're going to go to the left 28. Some of those clicks felt a little mushy, so I'm not exactly sure I'm at the 28. Let's try it. I think that should have been it, correct? Yes. Let's get some more loaded up. Now we're going to go up 28. Alright, that should be it. Now we're going to go to the right 14. And we're going to go down 14. And that should get me right back in the center there. Okay, so it doesn't look like it got me exactly back there. It looks like I said, some of these feel a little mushy. It's when you go to the clicks, you'll feel some that are nice and really firm, tactile, and then some of them are like just a little bump. It doesn't really feel like a good hard click on there. So by the looks of it, I should be able to go down another 14. Let's try that, and I should be back at my 0. And that's 14 clicks there. Now the windage, you don't 0 set the windage on there, and it looks like the windage is off just oh, maybe a ½ inch. So let's take it to the right 2 clicks. Okay, I wish I could, you know, reset the 0 on that. How many rounds do I have left in here? At least 2. Let's go ahead and take 2 shots right at the center there and see how that does. Put my ears back in because it can be loud. And one more in the same spot. Yeah, I don't think this rifle is bad at all, and I don't think the scope is bad at all, really. I really like the scope. The magnification is great. I can see everything clearly up there, and really close too. As far as things like chromatic aberration, I think it's called, CA, it's kind of like on the outside of the lens there, how foggy things look or how distorted they look. I see a little bit. It's not perfect, but the image right there at the center really looks good, and that's the part I'm concentrating on there. Yeah, I think it did pretty good. We'll go up there and take a look at the target itself. Okay, so here's a recap of the whole video here. Originally I was going to sight in on this target and do my tracking test up here. What I found was that when I tried to hit the bullseye right there, I actually ended up there. So that is a pretty good distance, about 1.5 feet or so. So I re-zeroed the rifle and got it pretty close to right here. And then I went ahead and decided to do the tracking test after I, you know, fine-tuned it up here a little bit. Nice little group right there in this upper set of targets there with my zeroing. So then what I had to do was, since I put my 0 stop at 0 right here, and I'm going to go up, over, and all the way down, I had to change things up a little bit. I actually had to aim here, adjust up to here, take my original shots, or my 3 starting shots, and then go up my 14 clicks, over 14, take 3 more, down 28, which put me at 0 stop on my turret, across 28, up 28, across 14, and then down 14, and that put me there. So I still had 14 left to go, so I went ahead and took it all the way back down to the 0, put my crosshairs, my reticle back up here, and took a couple more shots, and it tracked pretty good, if you ask me. Now this right here, this spread right here, that could possibly be, I'm pretty sure that is me. This is a good little group right down here. Not the best. I am not a professional shooter. I don't pretend to be and never claim to be. Fairly decent group there, fairly decent group there, and then all the way back. I was a little bit low and to the left with my final 3 shots there. But there's a lot of things that can affect it. It is slightly breezy out here today, which I don't think really affected it. More than likely this is probably all me. But there's a lot of things that are going to affect your shots. Wind is going to affect your shot. How full your bladder is going to affect your shot. The type of ammo you're using, the rest that you're shooting from. And that one is really good, I think, for some things. I think sandbags would be a whole lot better. I will do a video. I'm going to make me some sandbags, and I got an idea for some that should be really great. But anyways, there's a lot of things that can affect it, and probably all of those things affected me on this. Like I said, I am not a professional shooter, so I think this is great. The scope is great. There's a little bit of, I guess what you call chromatic aberration, which is like the outside of your view there in your scope is a little blurry, maybe a little color changing and stuff in there. It's not terrible in here. I don't notice the color so much, but I do notice a little bit of blurriness. But as far as the center of where I'm looking at, it's nice and clear. And I shot this thing zoomed all the way in at 25 power, because that's why I got one that was 25 power. I want to be able to zoom in all the way there. Sometimes it's not the best, depending on how far your target is away from you. If you're zoomed in, you might be zoomed in too far in what your target is, so you can zoom out a little bit. It's a first focal plane scope, which I absolutely love, but I have noticed if you are zoomed all the way out to the 5 power, you can just about forget about reading those numbers, because your reticle gets smaller and it gets very tiny in there. But anyways, I think it's a great scope, especially for the price. One of my viewers had commented that he actually owns several of them, and I probably will end up owning several of them too, because I think they're a good scope. I'm not supposed to promote any kind of, things like that, but in my opinion, it's an excellent scope. I'm not telling you to buy one. That's completely up to you. Anyways, if you get the chance, hit this button up here to check out some of my other videos, and hit the little round one over here to subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review.